Okay, last few questions. I talk fast. Okay, so this circuit, we've got two bulbs. Each of them have 4 ohms of resistance. So I'm going to put that down just. And then we've got a battery that's a 12 volt. So what kind of circuit is this? Well, we see that we've got multiple pathways here. Okay, our current can go around this path or it can go around this path. Everything's not in one continuous loop. So this is a parallel circuit. Okay. What's the total resistance? Okay, so for this one, we can't just add these up because remember we talked about how our total resistance decreases every time we add more resistors when we're in parallel. So we've got to use a different equation. So let's try using this one. 1 over R total equals 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4, because those are my two values. Okay. I am going to convert those from fractions because I don't really like using fractions. I don't know how about everybody else, but that's going to give me 0.025 plus 0.025, which should give me 0.5. And then remember, that's not my final answer. That's 1 over our total. So then I've got to do 1 over our total equals 0.5. You can, whatever math way you've learned that you're comfortable with, you can do this crisscross method. You can flip these, but however you do it, you're going to end up with 1 over 0.5 equals our total. Okay, and that should give me 2. So my total resistance is 2 ohms, which is less than my 2 individual resistor values, and that's what I expect to see for a parallel circuit. What's the total current? Okay, I can use Ohm's law here because I've got my voltage for my battery is 12 volts. And now I've gotten my total resistance is 2 ohms. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. My total current should be 6 amps. And that's going to be the sum of the current going through this pathway and the current going through this pathway. Those two added up. I could go back and figure those out individually if I wanted to, just for practice. All right, what does a voltmeter measure? Hang on, let me get myself situated here. And how does it need to be used to measure the voltage? Well, that kind of gave us away already. A voltmeter is going to measure voltage. And how does it need to be used? Remember, we had to connect that in parallel. So let's say we want to measure the voltage of this resistor. We would take our voltmeter and connect it on either side of our, very big, either side of our resistor. We did that when we did the unknown resistor lab. So we connect it in parallel. And then what does an ammeter measure? An ammeter is going to measure current. Oops, that's a typo. That should be current. So it measures current. This one we put in series. So remember again with the unknown resistor lab, we took our current measurement, our ammeters, and we put them in as part of the circuit. Okay, so they get connected in series. What type of circuits are household circuits and why? We talked about that when we went through parallel circuits. Okay, so household circuits are parallel. And that's because if one thing goes down, say one outlet goes bad or something like that, everything doesn't go down. That gives you your multiple pathways. So let's say our whole house doesn't stop working. Okay, so that way you've got multiple pathways for the current to flow. And that's safer too. Because imagine you got a lot of things plugged into a household circuit. So for a series circuit, what happens when you add more bulbs? Okay, we saw that as we added more bulbs, that means our resistance goes up. So our current went down. So our bulbs are going to dim as we add more and more of them. If we unscrew a bulb, the whole circuit turns off for a series. Because they're all connected in one single loop. What happens to total resistance as you add more resistors or bulbs? The resistance is going to increase. Okay. And then same questions for parallel, just to remind us about the behaviors here. So for a parallel circuit, what happens when you add more bulbs? You are increasing your current because you are adding more pathways. Now, you don't impact your previous pathways. So your other bulbs, the ones you already had in there, stay as bright as they were. Okay, so you're just adding another pathway, When we unscrew a bulb, okay, the others are going to stay lit. The one that we unscrew is going to be out. But the remaining bulbs, again, they're all on multiple pathways. So they're going to stay lit. They're not impacted if we unscrew one bulb. And then what happens to total resistance as you add more? We found with a parallel circuit, our resistance actually decreases. Our total resistance decreases because we're giving our current more and more and more pathways. If we add another pathway here, and we add another pathway here, we're giving it more options, basically. So we're reducing our overall resistance. Alrighty, that is all of our study guide.